September is the World Suicide Prevention Month and 10th of September is the World Suicide Prevention Day. I am Riri Trivedi. I am a psychotherapist, a trainer and a parenting coach. And today I will be talking in this video about what is my understanding on suicide behaviors, what can we do as parents to prevent it, and what is the existing research in this area. Usually, when we talk about the increasing burden of suicides in India, there is a debate where on one hand we have people who say that we are increasingly raising a generation of soft kids. So the new generation that we have now, is not strong enough, and we are raising very gentle, soft kids who are at any given challenge not able to face it and, trying to commit suicide. And on the other hand, all the research actually says that those who commit suicide are the kids who have been pushed beyond a point, pressurized beyond a point, and who have a severe load of childhood trauma. These are the kids who are being pushed towards suicide. So now the question is, what as parents should we do? Which of these two things are correct? Let us talk about it in this video today. If we look at research today in India, suicide is one of the biggest cause of deaths amongst young women between 15 to 29 years of age. And India's contribution to the suicide numbers globally is also increasing as we develop or as we grow. And hence, having these conversations around suicide behaviors and what to do to prevent them becomes extremely important. We must understand that suicide behavior starts with a thought, where a person looks at different ways or different ideas to end their life, and it ends with an actual action where a person does something to end their life. So suicide behavior is an action which is done with the pure and the simple intention of ending one's life or of killing oneself. All the research on suicide behavior points out that those people or those children who have gone through a severe childhood trauma are the ones who are most vulnerable to suicide. For all the people who have come to us at Wellness Space, we have also got our own data, and based on the studies that we have done with the data of our clients at Wellness Space who've had an attempt history of suicide, also we have found consistently that these people have a very high score of childhood trauma, which means these are the people who as children have gone through physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, emotional neglect, bullying, domestic violence, etc. So when we studied all the people, youngsters or middle-aged people who have attempted suicide multiple times over a period of their life, we found out that all of them consistently have a high score of childhood trauma. Not only that, out of all the trauma elements, we also found out that emotional abuse and emotional neglect have the strongest correlation with loneliness, depression, and subsequently suicide behaviors. So all those children who have faced severe emotional abuse and who have faced emotional neglect as children are the ones who are most susceptible to committing suicide. You must watch my video on what is emotional abuse and neglect, what are the ways that it happens to children, and what can be done to prevent it. It is a separate video, make sure you watch it. Coming to suicide behaviors, what happens is when a child goes through severe trauma in childhood, the nervous system of the child gets dysregulated, the brain centers develop differently. So these are the children who are always hyper vigilant, hyper anxious. They grow up with a lot of fears and phobias. They also grow up with highly impulsive and reactive behaviors because of the chronic stress and trauma coming from childhood abuse. And because of being impulsive, hyper reactive, overly sensitive and volatile, they are the ones who then cannot control their negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts, and they are the ones who will attempt suicide. So suicide attempt is also backed by a dysregulated nervous system that comes from childhood trauma. Usually, when we look at parenting styles, parents who have a very authoritarian style of parenting, so they raise their children with a lot of control, a lot of discipline, punishment, threats, usually have children who have attempted suicide. These are the children who feel emotionally unsupported, emotionally distant from their parents. They are the kids who grow up feeling extremely lonely, extremely unsupported. Sometimes they have a very poor sense of self-worth. They feel that they don't deserve to live. If they live or die, it really doesn't matter to anybody in the world. So when we try to do a pathway analysis at Wellness Space, we try to really understand that do all people who have gone through childhood trauma end up committing suicide? Well, not necessarily. Not all commit suicide. So who are the ones who have gone through childhood trauma and who are pushed towards committing suicide? These are the ones who, because of childhood trauma, have gone through depression, have experienced severe loneliness, they have a perceived lack of social support, and they may have anxiety or eating disorders, and all of this combined in isolation may push the person towards suicide behaviors. So the pathway analysis does show that childhood trauma does not directly lead to suicide behaviors, but childhood trauma that eventually results in social isolation, depression, loneliness, anxiety, insomnia, sleep issues can push a person towards suicide. Research also shows that neglectful parenting style causes or is linked to suicide behavior amongst children. What is neglectful or uninvolved parenting? This is when parents are not interested in the child at all. So these are the parents who do not even control, they are not even authoritative or abusive, but they are not even showing any kind of love or connection to the child. So the child feels completely isolated and disconnected from the parents. These are the children who are pushed towards suicide, because whenever they are struggling with any negative emotions or whenever they are struggling with any difficult challenges, they feel unsupported, they feel they have nobody they can go and talk to, and the only respite or option they have is committing suicide. So loneliness and lack of social support are one of the biggest contributors today that is leading the youth to suicide, according to us. It is ironical that loneliness and depression brings people to social media. So social media and phone usage is increased because people are feeling lonely and depressed. But the biggest irony of ironies is that social media usage and phone usage is also linked to more loneliness and depression. So people who spend longer hours on social media, longer hours on the phone, are the ones who are actually feeling more lonely, more depressed, more disconnected from people and human beings, and they are the ones who are also being pushed towards self-harming and suicide behavior. So social media is actually not helping us with this problem at all. When parents see my videos on childhood abuse, trauma, or when they see research that, okay, abuse and trauma is causing suicide behavior, some parents take the extreme parenting style where now they raise their children with completely permissive and indulgent parenting. So sometimes parents who have themselves gone through, as children, they have had parents who are very controlling, authoritarian, and abusive, will say, my child does not have to go through what I did. So these are the parents who will now raise their children like friends. The children have no rules, no regulations. These are the children who grow up with very protective, loving, and indulgent parents. These are the children also we call as a soft generation, or the generation who cannot face challenges, who does not have problem solving skills, who have their parents who have taken care of all their problems in their growing up years. And so the first problem they face, the first failure they face, the first rejection they face pushes them towards suicide. So while on one hand, we definitely say that do not, raise your children with fear and toxic shame and abuse and violence, we also say that do not raise your children with completely permissive parenting. Do not raise your children with all the freedom, no rules and regulation, no boundaries and no discipline, because those children also are emotionally not resilient, and they do not have the ability to face challenges in their life, and they also are the ones who end up doing self-harming and suicide behaviors. So the answer is somewhere in between, which brings us to the authoritative parenting style, which is a good mix of control and discipline as well as warmth and connection. So children who are brought up by parents who have inculcated discipline and values, but who are also connected to the child, who are talking to the children, who are emotionally connected to the children, are the ones who are preventing their children from suicide behaviors. So do watch my video on parenting styles as well, and check which is your parenting style. Remember that when it comes to preventing suicide behaviors, what can we do as parents? One is, like I said, focus on connecting with your child. If you are a very critical parent, if you are constantly correcting and fixing and judging your child, it is not going to help, because a child is now going to grow up with toxic shame, low self-worth, and complete inability to have the confidence to deal with life challenges. At the same time, do not also become very protective parents. Let your child solve their own problems. Give them age-appropriate freedom. Give them age-appropriate independence to make mistakes and learn from them. If your children fail, if your children fall, if your children do things that they should not do, focus on what is the lesson that they need to learn from it. Do not shame, blame, and humiliate your child, but have a conversation with your child. Make them understand what they did was wrong and how they can correct it. Have two-way communication with your children so that you can prevent your child from feeling isolated, lonely, and pushed into suicide. So as parents, remember, you don't have to be friends with your children, but you definitely have to be friendly parents. Communicate openly and honestly. Understand your child's point of view in every situation, even if that point of view may not match with yours. Tell your child, teach your child to communicate the language of emotions. Encourage your child to have a strong social network. Do not just focus on giving your child education and getting good marks and doing well in career and studies. Have your child to have an overall development. Let your child develop hobbies, sports, or any other arts and passions that your child may be interested in, because sometimes that can also prevent your child from committing suicide if the child has other ways to deal with difficult emotions. Encourage your child to have strong social support. Even if your child is introverted, that one or two close friends, let your child develop those close friendships so that the child does not feel isolated and lonely. And last but not the least, as parents, be comfortable to talk about suicide behaviors and what causes it with your children. Remember, by talking about it, you are not pushing your child or giving ideas to your child to commit suicide, but by talking about suicide behaviors, you are actually opening that communication channel. So if your child even has such thoughts, your child can discuss and talk with you, feeling safe and not feeling judged or not feeling threatened by your reaction. So as parents, keep your communication channel open. At the same time, focus on building emotional resilience for your child. Do not forget to see my video on what is emotional resilience and how you can bring emotional resilience in your children. Remember, you cannot control your child's environment beyond a point. You cannot protect your child from the world and the challenges that will be thrown to your child. But what you can do is make your child strong, make your child confident, and make your child emotionally resilient to face those challenges without breaking down. And this can only and only be achieved by supporting your child, by adopting positive parenting tools, and not by pressurizing the child to the point of breaking down. We are not encouraging raising soft, gentle generation. We are not also encouraging raising broken down generation. We want emotionally and physically strong generation of kids who can survive and thrive despite and in spite of challenges that life throws at them. So this is all that I want to share about suicide behaviors. I hope this video was useful to you as parents. If you liked it, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and don't forget to share this video also amongst your friends and family.